Stress is ultimately based on thoughts, but it's perceived by your body. And this mechanism, you have a brain, you have other mechanisms, you have other physiological mechanisms in your body that are influenced by your brain. It's perceived by your brain as a danger. You know, now anything that you perceive as being something that might cause you stress is perceived as a danger. And whenever you perceive a danger, your body automatically enters into what we call fight or flight mode.
Right. Yes.
And what I always tell people about fight or flight mode is that that's good if you actually have something in your environment that is fighting or dangerous. Which is why the title of my book has that subtitle about how to cope with bears, traffic, and the rest of life's stressors. I always use the bear as an example of like a real threat. It's actually something that's going to hurt you. It's an attacking bear. Or I use the traffic as an example of a not so real threat. Traffic isn't going to hurt you. It's just there.
Yes.
Now, the reason why it stifles creativity to be under stress is because if you are being attacked by a bear, the last thing you want to do is have some sort of creative, innovative thoughts. You want your brain to be super focused on surviving the bear, or whatever it is that, and so you don't have those kinds of thoughts. You don't have those kind of inspirations pop into your head. One of the most relaxing experiences people even engage in, just to go a little bit further into this subject, is to take a shower or a bath. A lot of people like to relax in that. And you're a creative person. I'm a creative person. How much inspiration comes to you while you're in the freaking shower? like honestly, some of my best ideas come to me while I'm just like shampooing my hair. Because you're focused. Your attention is focused on the activity of bathing. And it's not dangerous. It's not perceived as a threat by anything. And so your mind gets to wander and you start to have those wonderful positive ideas.
I love that you use bears as a metaphor for like extreme stressors. How can we prepare ourselves for the bears in our life, whether they're expected or unexpected? How can we be ready for them? Like, I'm ready to fight you.
Well, the expected ones are the easy ones to prepare for, right? Like, you have something that's going to be coming up. Well, you train and you develop the skills and, everything you need to be able to cope with that. It's the unexpected stuff that really is problematic for us. And to train for that is to develop something that we call psychological resilience. And unfortunately, that is a lifelong pursuit. It is a lifelong pursuit. We don't think about it. We don't think that we're trying to train our brain to be more resilient as we're doing it. We're just doing it. We do that by stepping up to challenges. Every time we would step up to a challenge, we are training our brain that this is something that we can do. We do it by solving problems. We do it by thinking positive. We do it by thinking differently, or by and maintaining good physical health as well. As the more we do that throughout our lives, the more resilient we become. Conversely, the less we do that throughout our lives, the more prone to neuroticism we become as we get older. Nobody's born anxious. I do like to point that out. Nobody's born anxious. They become anxious over time, and the reason why they do that is because they failed to develop a good sense of psychological resilience, among possible other causes as well. But nobody's born anxious. We develop it. We learn to be anxious. It's a very uncomfortable condition for your brain to be inactive. In fact, we call it dopamine deficiency in technical terms. In non-technical terms, we call it being bored. Whenever your brain isn't sufficiently stimulated, it tries to stimulate itself. And unfortunately for some of us, it seeks that stimulation in perhaps maybe revisiting memories that it revisits on occasion, like that bad thing that happened that one time. We call that ruminating, or it might seek to relieve that lack of stimulation by thinking about possibilities for the future, and some of those possibilities are going to be negative, and we call that worrying.
Yes.
Worrying and ruminating are both just mental activities, and they can have pretty significant effects on us. Rumination leads to depression.
Yes.
Worrying leads to the development of anxiety disorder,
Anxiety.
all
Mm-hmm.
related conditions. And so what I always tell people is to recognize thoughts for what they are. And what do you do when you want to change your thoughts? Well, you have to give your brain something else to do, something else to focus on. And so I always tell people, whenever you start to go in that direction with your mental activity, to try to change it. Try to change, like it's like literally changing the channel in your head, and read a book, watch TV, have a conversation, engage in some social interactions, go for some exercise, do something to occupy your mental space that redirects your brain from the path that it's currently on.